You wake to the soft bleat of your flock, their calls drifting through the wattle walls of your hut, the dawn's pale light slipping past the hide flap at the door. You're a shepherd in the village of Haverfield, a cluster of stone and thatch homes nestled in the rolling hills of the kingdom of Eld. Your name is Aldrich, and the air is cool, heavy with the scent of damp wool and the faint smoke of last night's fire, now just embers in the clay hearth. Your straw bed rustles as you rise, the rough blanket scratching your skin, no lord's comfort but enough to keep the chill at bay. Outside, a lark trills, its song sharp in the morning's hush, a reminder that the hills are waking and your sheep need tending. You stretch, your back stiff from yesterday's trek across the pastures, and shuffle to the hearth, prodding the embers with a stick, adding kindling to coax a flame. The fire flickers, casting shadows on the hut's walls, where your crook leans, its wood worn smooth by years of use, and a small shelf holds a clay pot, a wooden bowl, and a bundle of dried thyme. Its scent a ward, your grandmother said, against ill.
Winds.
You pull on your tunic, its wool patched at the elbows, and tug on your boots, their soles caked with the hill's clay. You grab a hunk of oat bread from the shelf, its crust hard but filling, and chew as you step outside, the hide flap brushing your shoulder. The air bites your face, crisp and laced with the scent of dew-soaked grass and distant pine from the Weirdawood, the forest that borders Haverfield's farthest pastures. The village stirs, smoke curls from chimneys, a dog yaps, and the mill's wheel creaks by the stream, its rhythm steady as a heartbeat. Your flock is penned nearby, 30 sheep huddled in a wattle enclosure, their wool thick with spring's promise, their eyes glinting in the dawn. You count them, a habit as old as your first season, and find all present, though one ewe, old Bess, limps slightly, her hoof tender from a stone. You'll check it later when the light's better. Haverfield sits in a gentle valley, its homes scattered like stones tossed by a giant, their thatched roofs glistening with dew. Beyond them the hills roll, patched with green pastures and gray stone walls, their edges fading into the Weirdawood's dark embrace. The forest is ancient, its trees gnarled, whispered to hold spirits, fairies, some say, or older things, tied to the land's bones. You've heard the tales since childhood, stories of shepherds lost in the wood, of lights dancing in the trees, leading folk astray. You've never seen such things, but you've felt the Weirdawood's watch when you've grazed too close, a silence that weighs heavy, and you've learned to keep your flock to the hills. You unhook the pen's gate, your crook in hand, and call to the sheep, a low whistle they know well. They shuffle out, Bess lagging but steady, and you guide them to the near pasture, a slope dotted with clover and bordered by a low wall. The grass is wet, the earth soft under your boots, and you move slow, watching for strays, your crook tapping the ground. The sheep spread out grazing, their bleats soft, and you settle on a stone, your cloak pulled tight against the morning's chill. The hills are quiet, save for the lark's song and the distant low of cattle from another field, and you feel the land's rhythm, steady and slow, a pulse you've known all your life. You check Bess's hoof, lifting it gently, her wool warm against your hands. A small stone's lodged in the soft flesh, and you pry it free with your knife, its blade nicked but sharp, the ewe bleeding but calm. You pat her flank, murmuring softly, and she returns to grazing, the limp eased. The sun climbs, burning off the mist, and you scan the pasture, counting again, a shepherd's habit that never fades. All's well, but you notice a faint mark in the grass, not a hoof or boot, but a circle, small and pressed, like a child's bare foot, though no child would wander here alone. Your skin prickles, the thorn charm absent, but the Weirdawood's tail's sharp in your mind, and you glance at the forest, its edge a dark smear in the distance. You tell yourself it's nothing, a trick of the dew, but your hand tightens on the crook, its wood a steady anchor. You guide the flock higher, to a ridge where the grass is thicker, the sheep moving slow, their wool catching burrs. The ridge overlooks Haverfield, its home small from here, the mill's wheel a faint glint by the stream. You sit, eating the last of your bread, its oats gritty but filling, and watch the clouds drift, their shadows sliding over the hills like silent ships. The Weirdawood looms to the north, its trees still, but you feel its watch, not heavy today but present, like a neighbor who never speaks. You've grazed near its edge before, never crossing, and heard nothing but wind, yet the mark in the grass nags, a splinter you can't pull. Midday comes, the sun warm now, and you lead the flock back, their bellies full, their wool flecked with grass. The village is alive, folk in the fields, children chasing geese, the blacksmith's hammer ringing. You pen the sheep, checking Bess again, her hoof steady, and head to the square, needing water and maybe news from the tavern. The well is busy, women gossiping, their buckets clinking, and you fill your flask. The water cold and clear, its mineral tang familiar. Old Gwyn, the village's eldest, sits by the well, her shawl tight, her eyes sharp despite her years. She nods at you, her voice cracked but clear. Aldrich, mind the hills today. The wind's odd, smells of the weirdwood. You grunt, used to Gwyn's warnings. Storms, spirits, or just her bones aching. Just a mark in the grass, you say, keeping it light. Probably a fox. But her eyes narrow and she leans closer, her breath sharp with mint. Foxes don't walk like children, she says, her voice low. Mind the weird-a-wood, lad. It's been too quiet. You nod, the marks circle vivid, and head to your hut, the flask heavy. Gwyn's words a weight you can't shake. You stoke the fire, set a pot of oats to simmer, and sit, the crook by your side. The weirdwoods watch a faint hum, and know, deep in your bones, that the hills are yours. But the forest's secrets are stirring, and they're closer than you'd like. You sit by the hearth, the pot of oats simmering, its steam curling in the dim light of your hut. The fire's glow is soft, casting shadows that flicker across the wattle walls. And the scent of thyme from the bundle above the shelf mixes with the earthy warmth of the oats. Your crook leans against the wall, its wood worn smooth, and the knife at your belt rests heavy, its blade still flecked with dirt from Bess's hoof. Outside, Haverfield hums with the quiet rhythm of midday. Children's laughter, the creak of a cart, the low bleat of your flock in their pen. The mark in the grass, that strange circle like a child's footprint, nags at you, Aldrich, its shape too deliberate for a fox, and old Gwyn's warning, mind the weird-a-wood, settles like damp clay in your gut. You're a shepherd tied to the hills, not the forest, but the weird-a-wood's watch feels closer today, a shadow brushing the edge of your world. You stir the oats, their texture thick, and ladle them into a wooden bowl, the heat warming your calloused hands. You eat slowly, the plain flavor grounding you, though your eyes keep drifting to the hide flap at the door, half expecting a sound, a rustle, a whisper from the hills beyond. The village feels safe, its stone and thatch homes a bulwark against the unknown, but the weirdwood's tales of spirits and lost shepherds weave through your thoughts, stirred by that mark. You finish the oats, scraping the bowl clean, and rise, wiping your hands on your tunic. The flock needs checking, the pen's wattle needs mending, and you can't sit here chasing shadows when the hills are waiting. You grab your crook, its weight familiar, and step outside, the air cool now, the sun climbing higher, burning off the last of the morning's dew. Haverfield is alive, folk moving through the square, women weaving baskets, men hauling grain to the mill, a boy driving geese with a stick. Your pen is close, the sheep huddled, their wool thick and matted, ready for shearing soon. You count them, 30 heads, all present, and check Bess, her hoof steady, her bleat soft as she nuzzles your hand. The pen's wattle is loose in one spot, a gap where a lamb might slip, and you fetch a bundle of hazel twigs from the shed, your knife cutting them to size, weaving them tight to close the breach. The work is simple, your hands moving with the ease of years, but your eyes stray to the hills, to the weird-a-wood's dark edge, its trees still, their silence heavier than the wind. You finish the mend, testing the wattle with a push, and lead the flock out, your whistle sharp, guiding them to a lower pasture, closer to the village, where the grass is short but sweet. The sheep spread out, grazing, their bells clinking softly, and you settle on a low wall, your crook across your knees, the hills rolling before you like a green sea. The weird-a-wood looms to the north, its canopy a dark stain, and you scan the pasture, watching for that mark, that circle. But the grass is clean, the earth untouched. You tell yourself it was nothing, a trick of the light, but Gwyn's words, foxes don't walk like children, echo, and you feel the forest's watch. Not pressing, but present, like a hand hovering over your shoulder. The sun warms your back. The sheep's bleats a steady hum, and you pull a small flute from your belt. It's wood carved by your father. Its notes simple but clear. You play softly, a tune your grandmother taught. Its melody weaving through the hills, calming the flock, calming you. The lark joins in, its trill high and bright, and for a moment the weirdwood's shadow fades. The pasture a world of its own, green and alive. But as you play, you notice a lamb straying, edging toward the pasture's far side where the grass meets a dip that slopes toward the forest. You stop, tucking the flute away, and call to it, a sharp whistle. But the lamb keeps moving, its steps oddly purposeful, as if drawn. You rise, your crook in hand, and stride after it, your boots sinking into the soft earth. The lamb pauses at the dip, its head low, sniffing something you can't see, and you quicken your pace, the flock's bells fading behind you. You reach the lamb, grabbing its wool gently and pull it back, its bleat soft but startled. You look down, and there it is. Another mark, larger this time, a circle pressed into the grass, its edges sharp like a footprint, but too wide, too deep, with faint lines radiating outward like fingers splayed. Your heart kicks. The crook's wood, cold in your grip, and you scan the dip. The weirwood closer here, its trees looming, their shadows long and thin. You guide the lamb back, your whistle sharp, calling the flock closer, and kneel to study the mark. It's fresh. The grass still bent, the earth damp, and you feel a chill. Not from the air, but from the forest's watch. Its gaze sharper now, as if it knows you've seen. You stand, your knife drawn, its blade glinting, and back away, keeping the weirwood in view. The sheep cluster, their bleats uneasy, and you lead them to the pen faster than usual, the mark a weight you can't shake. Haverfield's roofs come into view, the mill's wheel turning, the village's hum a faint comfort, but the weirwood's silence follows, a whisper you can't hear but feel. You pen the flock, checking the wattle, and head to the tavern, needing voices, warmth, anything to dull the mark's unease. The square is busy, folk bartering wool, bread, and cider, their chatter bright but edged with caution, as if they sense the hill's shift. The tavern's door creaks as you enter, the air thick with ale and wood smoke, and Bran, the keeper, nods from behind the counter, his beard flecked with flour, his eyes sharp. "Aldrich," he says, sliding a mug your way, "you look like the hills have spoken to you." You take the mug, its ale bitter and strong, and settle onto a stool, the crook at your side. "Found a mark," you say, your voice low, "in the pasture, like a footprint, but wrong. Second one today." Gwyn said to mind the weirdwood. Bran's eyes narrow, his hands pausing on a jug. "Another? Hal the miller saw one by the stream, swore it was a spirit's print. Folk are nervous, Aldrich, crops thinning, lambs born weak. They're whispering of the weirwood, saying it's waking." He leans closer, his voice dropping. "You're out there most with the sheep. Mind yourself. Fear's got folk looking for someone to blame." You nod, the ale heavy, Gwyn's warning and Bran's words a knot in your chest. The tavern's hum is warm, farmers and weavers talking of harvests and looms, but the marked circle burns in your mind. The weirwood's watch a shadow you can't shake. You finish the ale, leaving a copper, and head back to your hut, the square's bustle fading, the forest's edge looming. You bar the door, stoke the fire, and sit, the crook across your knees, the knife gleaming. The time bundle sways, its scent a faint ward. And you know, deep in your bones, the hills are yours, but the weirwood's secrets are closer, and they're calling you. You sit by the hearth, the fire's glow steady, its warmth pushing back the evening's chill as the scent of thyme drifts from the bundle above the shelf. The oat pot is empty, its residue scraped clean, and your crook rests against the wall, its wood catching the light, a silent partner in your days across the hills. The knife at your belt is sheathed, its blade still sharp from tending Bess's hoof, and the hide flap at the door sways faintly, stirred by a breeze that carries the faint musk of your flock and the distant pine of the weirdwood. Bran's words, old Gwyn's warning, and the two strange circles pressed into the pasture's grass weigh on you, Aldrich. Their shapes too deliberate, too close to the forest's edge. You're a shepherd, bound to Haverfield's hills, not the weirdwood shadows. But the forest's watch feels sharper now, a presence that knows your name. lingering like frost on wool. You rise, restless, and pace the small hut, your boots scuffing the packed earth floor. The village is quiet. Its hum faded to the occasional bark of a dog or the creak of a shutter. But sleep feels distant, chased by the memory of those marks. Footprints, yet not, with their radiating lines like splayed fingers. You check the door's bar, its wood solid but somehow flimsy against the weird wood's tails, and tug the hide flap tight, securing it with a leather thong. The time bundle sways, its scent a ward you half believe, and you toss a pinch into the fire, the flames flaring briefly, their green spark a small comfort. Your grandmother's stories of fairies dancing in the forest, of shepherds lured by lights, echo, but you're practical, grounded in fleece and hoof, yet the marks are real, and the hills feel less yours tonight. You settle back, pulling the small flute from your belt, its wood warm from your body, and play a soft tune, the notes low and mournful, a shepherd's song to calm the flock, to calm yourself. The melody fills the hut, weaving through the fire's crackle, and for a moment the Weirderwood's watch fades, the hills reclaiming their quiet rhythm. But as you play, you hear it, a sound, faint but wrong, not a bleat or a wind's moan, but a rustle, like bare feet on grass, just beyond the hut. You stop, the flute still in hand, and listen, your heart steady but quick. The rustle comes again, deliberate, closer, and you stand, grabbing your crook, its weight reassuring, and move to the door, easing the bar aside to peer out. The night is dark, the village's lanterns dim, the hills a shadowed swell under a sliver of moon. Your pen is close, the sheep silent, their shapes huddled in the wattle enclosure, but the air is thick, laced with pine and something sweeter, like overripe fruit. You scan the pasture, the Weirderwood's edge a black smear, and see nothing, no glint of eyes, no flicker of light, but the rustle returns now from the pen's far side, where the grass meets the slope to the forest. You step out, your crook in one hand, the knife drawn in the other, its blade glinting in the moonlight. The sheep stir, their bells clinking softly, and you move quiet, your boots silent on the dew-soaked earth, the thorn charm absent, but the forest's tales sharp in your mind. You reach the pen, checking the wattle, its weave intact, and circle to the far side where the rustle sounded. The grass is wet, the earth soft, and there it is. Another mark, a circle like the others, pressed deep, its radiating lines clearer now, like a hand with too many fingers, splayed as if reaching. Your breath catches, the crook's wood cold, and you kneel, your knife hovering, the mark fresh, the grass still bending. You glance at the Weirdwood, its trees still, but the sweet scent is stronger, cloying, and you feel it. A watch, not the forest's usual gaze, but something sharper, closer, like eyes just beyond the dark. You stand, backing toward the pen, your knife raised, and whistle softly, calming the sheep, their bleats low but uneasy. You return to the hut, barring the door, the fire's glow a small shield against the night's unease. You set the crook down, the knife on the table, its blade catching the light, and sit, the mark's shape burning in your mind. The Weirderwood's tales of spirits, of things that walk like children but aren't, feel less like stories now, and you wonder if the marks are a warning, a call, or something worse. You toss another pinch of time into the fire, its flare bright, and check the shutters, their wood tight, the hide flaps secure. The village sleeps, but the hills are awake. And you know you can't ignore the marks, not with the Weirderwood so close. You decide to speak to old Gwyn at dawn, her wisdom sharper than Bran's gossip, her knowledge of the old ways a guide where your crook can't reach. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and pull the flute close, its wood a quiet comfort. The fire dims, the night deep, and sleep comes slow, the rustles echo in your ears, the Weirderwood's watch a weight you can't shake. You close your eyes, the time scent lingering and drift, dreaming of green hills and silent prints, knowing deep in your bones that the Weirderwood's secrets are circling, and they're drawing you in. Dawn breaks, the light gray through the shutters, the air cold but clean. You rise, stoking the fire, and pull on your tunic, the knife at your belt, the crook in hand. You step outside, the village stirring, its roofs glistening. The Weirdwood a dark line, but quieter, as if waiting. You check the flock, all 30 present, best steady, and lead them to the near pasture, your whistle soft. the sheep grazing calm. The mark by the pen is gone, the grass smoothed, but its memory lingers, and you head to the square, needing Gwyn's counsel. The well is busy, women chatting, their buckets clinking, and Gwyn sits on her stool, her shawl tight, her eyes sharp as you approach. "Aldrich," she says, her voice cracked but firm. "You've seen it again, haven't you?" "The Weirdowood's mark." You nod, crouching beside her, your voice low. "Another circle by the pen last night. Heard a rustle like feet. It's no fox, Gwyn. What's stirring?" Her lips purse, her eyes flicking to the forest. "The Weirdowood's old, older than Haverfield, older than the hills. It holds things, spirits, not fairies, but kin to the land's bones. They walk when the seasons turn, leaving marks, calling those who tread too close." She leans closer, her breath sharp. "You're out there with the sheep near its edge. It's seen you, Aldrich. Mind your steps and keep your fire high. The marks are a sign. It's watching, waiting." You swallow, the marks circle vivid, and nod, the crook heavy in your hand. "What do I do?" you ask, your voice quiet. Gwyn's eyes soften, her hand gripping yours. "Stay to the hills, bar your door, and watch the flock. The Weirdwood's patient, but it doesn't forget. If it calls, don't answer, not yet." She pauses, her voice a whisper. "And talk to Father Edric. His prayers might hold what my words can't." You thank her, the village's hum a faint comfort, and head back. The Weirdowood's watch a shadow on your shoulders. You pen the flock, stoke the fire, and sit, the knife gleaming, the crook steady, knowing deep in your bones that the hills are yours, but the Weirdwood's secrets are closer, and they're whispering your name. You leave the chapel, the vial of blessed water tucked into your jerkin, its weight a small comfort against the Weirdowood's lingering gaze. The morning is crisp, the sun climbing over Haverfield's hills, casting long shadows that stretch toward the village's thatched roofs. Your crook is steady in your hand, the knife at your belt a familiar anchor, and the time's scent clings to your tunic, a faint ward woven into the wool. Father Edric's prayers echo in your mind, their rhythm calming, but old Gwyn's warning and the circles, those strange splayed marks in the grass, press heavier, Aldrich, their presence a thread pulling you toward the Weirdowood's edge. You're a shepherd, your life bound to the flock and the hills, not the forest's secrets, but the tapping by your hut, the rustle in the night. They're no longer just tales, they're signs, and they know your name. You head to the pen, the flock's bleats greeting you, their wool thick and matted, ready for shearing soon. You count them, 30 heads, all present, Bess grazing steady, her hoof no longer tender. The wattle is tight, no gaps, but you check the ground around it, your eyes sharp for new marks. The circle from last night is gone, the grass smoothed as if the earth swallowed it, but the memory of its radiating lines, like a hand reaching, keeps your hand close to the knife. You whistle softly, opening the gate, and lead the sheep to the lower pasture, closer to the village, where the clover is thick and the Weirdwood's shadow feels fainter. The flock spreads out, their bells clinking, and you settle on a stone, your crook across your knees, the hills rolling green and familiar, a balm against the forest's pull. The sun warms the air, the lark's song high and clear, and you watch the sheep, your gaze drifting to the Weirdwood's edge, its trees a dark line, their branches still but heavy with unseen eyes. You pull the vial from your jerkin, its water clear, catching the light, and sprinkle a few drops on the ground, murmuring Edric's prayer, the words clumsy but earnest. The earth drinks it, the grass unchanged, but you feel a steadiness, a tether to Haverfield's faith, and tuck the vial away, your fingers brushing the knife's handle. The pasture is quiet, the flock content, but you notice a lamb, young and spry, edging toward the pasture's far side, where a shallow gully dips toward the forest's shadow. You call to it, a sharp whistle, but it moves on, its steps deliberate, as if following a path you can't see. You rise, your crook in hand, and stride after it, your boots sinking into the soft earth, the flock's bells fading behind. The lamb pauses at the gully's edge, its head low, sniffing, and you quicken your pace. The Weirdwood's edge closer here, its pine scent sharp, mixed with that overripe sweetness like fruit rotting in the dark. You grab the lamb, its wool warm, and pull it back, its bleat soft but startled. You look down, and there it is, a new mark, a circle pressed into the gully's grass, its lines radiating deeper, sharper, like a hand clawing upward, the earth around it damp, as if freshly turned. Your heart kicks, the crook's wood cold, and you scan the gully, the weirdwood's trees looming their shadows thick, the sweet scent cloying now, almost choking. You guide the lamb back, your whistle urgent, calling the flock tighter, and kneel to study the mark, your knife drawn, its blade glinting. The circle is fresh, the grass bent, and you see something new, a faint shimmer, like dust or ash caught in the lines glinting in the sunlight. You touch it, the shimmer cold, clinging to your fingers, and feel a chill. Not from the air, but from the forest's watch, its gaze no longer patient, but intent, as if the mark is a message, a summons. You stand backing toward the flock, your knife raised, and glance at the weirdwood, its silence heavy, the sweet scent fading but leaving a bitter aftertaste. The sheep cluster, their bleats uneasy, and you lead them to the pen, your steps quick. The marks shimmer on your fingers, a weight you can't wash away. Haverfield's roofs come into view, the mill's wheel turning. The village's hum, a steady anchor, but the weirdwood's presence follows, a shadow that clings to your boots. You pen the flock, checking the wattle, and head to the square, needing old Gwyn's wisdom, Father Edric's prayers, anything to counter the mark's growing pull. The square is bustling, folk bartering cider, wool, and turnips, their chatter bright but cautious, as if the hill's unease has seeped into their bones. You find Gwyn by the well, her shawl tight, her eyes sharp as she watches a child chase a goose. She sees you, her lips pursing, and beckons you closer, her voice low. "Aldrich, it's another mark, isn't it? The weirdwood's closer now." You nod, showing her your fingers, the shimmer faint but clinging. "By the gully, a circle like the others, but with this ash or something else. It's no spirit, Gwyn, it's calling." Her eyes narrow, her hand gripping yours, brushing the shimmer away, her touch rough but kind. "It's the weirdwood's kin," she says, her voice cracked but firm. "Not spirits, but the land's own, bound to its roots, waking when the hills stir. They mark their path, Aldrich, and they've chosen you, your flock, your hills." She pauses, her eyes flicking to the forest. "You can't run, but you can ward. Keep your fire high, your prayers strong, and don't graze too close. Find Edric again, ask for his strongest blessing, and watch the flock. They feel it too." You thank her, the vial of holy water heavy in your jerkin, and head to the chapel. The streams gurgle, a soft counterpoint to the weirdwood silence. Father Edric is inside, tending candles, their wax dripping slow, his face lined but calm. "Aldrich," he says, setting a candle down. "You're back soon. The marks?" You nod, recounting the gully's circle, the shimmer, Gwyn's words. "I need more, Father, a blessing, something to hold the weirdwood back. The flock's uneasy, and I'm—" You trail off, the words caught, but he understands, his eyes softening. He leads you to the altar, a simple stone slab, and prays, his voice steady, his hands tracing a cross over your crook, your knife, your brow. He gives you a small cloth, soaked in holy water, its scent clean and sharp. "Wrap this around your crook," he says, "and sprinkle the water on the pen. It's faith, Aldrich, and faith holds when time fades." You take the cloth, its weight a new ward, and thank him. The chapel's calm a fleeting shield against the forest's call. You return to the hut, the village's hum fading, the weirdwood's edge looming. You bar the door, stoke the fire, and wrap the cloth around your crook, its dampness cool, the holy water's scent mingling with time. You sprinkle the vial's last drops around the pen, the sheep quiet, their bells still. The fire glows, the night deep, and you sit, the knife gleaming, the crook steady, the marked circles a map in your mind. The weirdwood's kin are out there, their call a whisper you can't ignore, and you know, deep in your bones, that the hills are yours. But the forest's secrets are closer, and they're weaving a path you'll have to walk. You sit by the hearth, the fire's glow steady, its warmth a quiet bulwark against the night's chill as the scent of time and the faint trace of Father Edric's holy water linger in the air. The cloth-wrapped crook leans against the wall, its damp fabric glinting in the firelight, and the knife on the table shines, its blade a silent promise of protection. The hide flap is secure, the door barred, and the wattle walls hold firm, but the Weird-a-Wood's presence seeps through, Aldrich, a subtle weight that presses on your chest. The circles in the grass, those splayed, unnatural marks, haunt you, their shimmering ash and radiating lines, a summons you can't unsee, and old Gwyn's words, Father Edric's prayers, weave a fragile net around your thoughts. You're a shepherd, your life tethered to Haverfield's hills, not the forest's secrets. But the Weird-a-Wood's kin, those land-bound spirits, are circling closer. Their whispers a call that knows your name. You rise, restless, and stir the fire, adding a log to keep it burning through the night, its crackle a counterpoint to the village's silence. The pot is empty, the oats gone, but hunger is a distant concern, overshadowed by the marks, the rustle, the tapping that circled your hut. You pace the small space, your boots soft on the earth floor, and pause by the shelf where the carved wooden lamb sits. Its smooth edges a reminder of your father's hands, his lessons of flock and hill. You touch it, grounding yourself, but the Weird-a-Wood's watch is sharper tonight, not a gaze but a touch, like fingers brushing the back of your neck. You check the door's bar, its wood unyielding, and tug the shutters, their slats tight, yet the forest's call slips through, a hum you feel in your bones. You decide to keep busy, to fend off the unease and pull a skein of wool from the chest, its fibers coarse but warm, saved from last season's shearing. You twist it, your fingers deft, braiding a new cord for the pen's gate, the work simple but steadying, a shepherd's task to anchor you to the hills. The fire pops, the time bundle sways, and you hum a low tune, not daring the flute, its notes too open, too inviting in the dark. But as you braid, you hear it, a sound, not a tap or rustle, but a soft chime like a bell, faint and clear from the direction of the pen. You freeze, the wool slipping from your hands, and listen, your heart quick but steady. The chime comes again, rhythmic, like one of your flock's bells, but wrong, too delicate, too deliberate, as if played by unseen hands. You stand, grabbing the crook, its cloth-wrapped wood cool, and draw the knife, its blade glinting in the firelight. You ease the bar from the door, the hide flap brushing your arm, and step outside. The night cold and thick with the scent of pine and that cloying sweetness, now sharper, like fermented fruit. The village is dark, its lanterns dim, the hills a shadowed swell under a starless sky. Your pen is close, the sheep huddled, their shapes still. But the chime rings again from the pen's far corner, where the wattle meets the slope to the Weird-wood. You move silent, your boots sinking into the dew-soaked grass, the crook in one hand, the knife in the other. The fire's glow, a fading warmth behind you. You reach the pen, the sheep stirring, their bells clinking softly, but the chime is distinct, not theirs, coming from the ground near the wattle. You kneel, your knife raised, and see it, a new mark, a circle pressed into the earth, its radiating lines deep, the shimmering ash thicker now, glinting like frost in the moonlight. Beside it, a small object, no bigger than a pebble, catches the light. A tiny bell, its metal tarnished but whole, tied with a thread of grass, as if left as a gift. Your breath catches, the crook's cloth damp under your grip, and you feel the Weird-a-Wood's kin, not watching but present, their call a chime that hums in your chest. You pick up the bell, its metal cold, its sound a faint echo as it shifts, and slip it into your jerkin, the mark's ash clinging to your fingers. You stand scanning the hills, the Weird-a-Wood's edge a black void, its trees unmoving but alive, their gaze intent, as if the bell is a token, a marker of their claim. You whistle softly, calming the flock, their bleats low, and sprinkle the last of Edric's holy water around the pen, its scent clean but fleeting. You back toward the hut, your knife raised, the crook steady, and bar the door, the fire's glow a small haven. You set the bell on the table, its thread fraying, and sit, the knife beside it, the crook at your side. The marks shimmer, the bells chime. They're not warnings now, but invitations. The Weird-a-Wood's kin weaving a path you can't avoid. You toss time into the fire, its green flare bright, and check the shutters, the door, the wattle, every seam a weak point against the forest's reach. The night is deep, the village asleep, but the hills pulse with the Weird-a-Wood's quiet call. And you know you must act, not just pray or ward, but face the forest's kin before their circles tighten further. You resolve to find old Gwyn at first light. to ask for more than warnings, perhaps a ritual, a way to appease or repel the spirits. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and grip the knife, its blade a cold comfort. Sleep is a fragile hope. The chimes echo in your ears. The weird woods gaze, a weight that holds you, and you know, deep in your bones, that the hills are yours, but the forest's kin are closer, and their call is a song you can't silence. Dawn breaks, the light pale through the shutters, the air cold but sharp with time and holy water's faint trace. You rise, stoking the fire, and pull on your tunic, the knife at your belt, the crook in hand, the bell tucked into your jerkin beside the vervain pouch. You step outside, the village stirring, its roofs glistening. The weird wood a dark line, but quieter, as if pausing. You check the flock, all 30 present, their bells steady, and find no new marks. The circle by the pen faded, the grass smoothed. You lead the sheep to the near pasture, your whistle calm, and head to the square, seeking Gwyn's counsel, her knowledge of the old ways a beacon in the forest's shadow. The square is alive, folk bartering wool and cider, their chatter cautious but warm, the village's fear eased by the hill's calm. Gwyn sits by the well, her shawl tight, her eyes sharp as she watches a cart rumble past. She sees you, her lips pursing, and beckons, her voice low. "Aldrich, it's more than marks now, isn't it? The Weirderwood's kin are speaking." You nod, showing her the bell, its tarnished metal glinting, its grass thread fraying. "Found this by the pen with another circle, ash in the lines. It chimed Gwyn like a call. What are they?" Her eyes darken, her hand closing over the bell, her touch trembling but firm. "They're the land's own, Aldrich, bound to the Weirdwood's roots, waking when the hills shift. The circles are their steps, the bell their voice calling you to the forest's heart." She pauses, her voice a whisper. "They want a shepherd, someone to walk their paths, to listen. Don't answer, not yet, but ward stronger, time, water, and blood if you must. Find Edric, ask for a binding prayer, and keep the flock close. They're yours, but the Weirderwood's claiming you too." You thank her, the bell heavy in your jerkin, and head back. The villages hum a faint shield. The Weirderwoods watch a shadow that follows. You pen the flock, stoke the fire, and sit, the knife gleaming, the crook wrapped in its holy cloth, knowing, deep in your bones, the hills are yours. But the forest's kin are singing, and their song is drawing you closer to the Weirdwood's edge. You sit by the hearth. The fire's glow a steady beacon in the deepening dusk, its warmth curling around you like a shield against the Weirderwood's creeping presence. The time bundle sways above the shelf, its scent sharp but thinning, and the holy water's faint trace clings to the cloth-wrapped crook, propped against the wall, its wood glinting in the firelight. The knife rests on the table, its blade clean but ever ready, and the 2 bells from the Weirdwood, their tarnished and bright metal tied with fraying grass, lie beside it, their delicate chimes silent but heavy with the forest's call. Outside, Haverfield is hushed, the village's lanterns dim, the hills a shadowed swell under a starless sky. Old Gwyn's warning, Father Edric's promise of a binding, and the circle's shimmering ash weave a tightening thread around you, Aldrich. Their song no longer a hum but a melody, pulling you inexorably toward the Weirderwood's heart. You're a shepherd, your soul rooted in the flock and the hills, but the forest's kin, those land-bound spirits, are singing your name, their marks a path you can't unsee. You rise, stoking the fire, its logs crackling as they settle, and pace the hut, your boots whispering on the earth floor. The night is thick, the village asleep, but the Weirderwood's gaze is a constant pulse, not a touch now, but a tug, urging you to step beyond the hills to answer its song. You check the door's bar, its wood solid, and the shutters, their slats unyielding, but the bells wait in your jerkin, the vervain pouches rustle. Keep the forest's call close, a melody that hums in your chest. You toss a pinch of thyme into the fire, its green flare bright, its scent a fleeting ward, and sit, the knife in hand, its cold steel grounding you against the Weirdwood's lure. The marks, the chimes, the glow, they're not just a summons, they're a claim, the forest's kin marking you as their guide. And you know tomorrow's ritual, with Gwyn's wisdom and Edric's prayers, is your last chance to silence their song before it. drowns you. You decide to prepare, to strengthen your resolve for the dawn's binding, and pull a small sack of salt from the chest. Its grains coarse, a shepherd's ward as old as time. You sprinkle it around the hut's threshold, its crunch a soft prayer, and trace a line along the pen's wattle. The sheep quiet, their bells still. You murmur Edric's prayer, the words steadier now, and tie a fresh sprig of thyme to the crook's cloth, its scent sharp in the cold air. The night is still, the weird wood's edge a dark void, but the bitter burnt leaf scent is back, faint but piercing, and you feel the forest's kin, not waiting but stirring, their presence a shiver that brushes your skin. You return to the hut, barring the door, and stoke the fire, its glow a small sanctuary. You pull the wooden lamb from the shelf, its carved edges warm, and hold it, a reminder of the hills, of your father's voice calling the flock. But as you set it down, you hear it, a sound, not a chime or hum, but a soft scratch, like nails on wood, from the wattle wall facing the weirderwood. You freeze, the knife in hand, the crook within reach, and listen, your heart quick but steady. The scratch comes again, slow, deliberate, circling the hut, and you stand, moving silent to the wall, pressing your ear to the wattle. The sound shifts, now a whisper, not words, but a breath, weaving through the fire's crackle, and you feel the forest's kin, their gaze no longer a call, but a presence, standing just beyond the wall. You ease toward the door, unbearing it slowly, the hide flap cold, and step outside, the night heavy with pine and that bitter burnt scent stronger now like ash on the wind. The village is dark, the hills a shadowed wave, and the pen is quiet, the sheep huddled, their shapes still. You circle the hut, your crook in one hand, the knife in the other, its blade glinting in the faint moonlight. The scratching stops, the whisper fades, but you see it. A new mark, pressed into the earth by the hut's wall, a circle larger than before, its radiating lines deep, shimmering with ash, and at its center a third bell, its metal polished, its grass. Thread fresh, glinting like a star. Your breath catches, the crook's cloth damp, and you kneel, the knife hovering. The bells chime faint as you touch it, its metal warm, its sound a soft echo in your hand. You stand, slipping the bell into your jerkin with the others, and scan the hills, the weird wood's edge a black abyss, its trees unmoving but alive, their gaze a weight that pulls you closer. The sheep stir, their bells clinking, and you whistle softly, checking the pen, the flock safe, the wattle firm. You sprinkle salt around the mark, its grains glinting, and return to the hut, barring the door. The fire's glow, a fading refuge. You set the bell on the table, its thread curling, and sit, the knife gleaming, the crook steady, the mark's ash a map in your mind. The weirderwood's kin are not just calling now. They're guiding, their bells a trail to the forest's heart. And you know the ritual at dawn is your only chance to bind their song before it claims you. You toss time into the fire, its flare bright, and check the shutters, the door, the wattle, every seam a frail barrier. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and grip the knife, its blade a cold anchor. Sleep is a fragile hope. The scratches echo in your ears, the weirderwood's gaze a weight that holds you. And you know, deep in your bones, that the hills are yours, but the forest's kin are closer, and their path is one you'll walk at dawn. The morning comes, the light pale through the shutters, the air cold but sharp with thyme and salt. You rise, stoking the fire, and pull on your tunic, the knife at your belt, the crook in hand, the bells and vervain pouch heavy in your jerkin. You step outside, the village stirring, its roof silvered with frost. The weirderwood a dark line but silent, its gaze softened as if waiting. You check the flock, all 30 present, their bells steady, and find no new marks. The circle by the hut faded, the grass smoothed. You pen the sheep, leaving them to graze near the village, and head to the chapel, where old Gwyn and Father Edric wait, their faces grim but resolute, ready for the binding ritual. The chapel is cool, its stone walls glowing with candlelight, the air thick with wax and prayer. Gwyn stands by the altar, her shawl tight, a bundle of herbs, thyme, rue, yarrow at her side, while Edric holds a small iron bowl, its rim etched with crosses, filled with holy water and ash. Aldrich, Gwyn says, her voice cracked but firm. The bells are their voice, the circles their steps. We'll bind them with blood and prayer to silence their song. Edric nods, his eyes steady. Your will, Aldrich, is the key. Offer the bells, your blood, to the chapel's stone, and we'll seal the Weirdwood's kin. You nod, the bells heavy, and step to the altar, the village's faith a steady hum, the Weirdwood's call a shadow that lingers, and you know, deep in your bones, that the hills are yours. But the forest's kin are waiting, and this ritual is your stand against their song. You stand before the chapel's altar, the stone slab cold under your hands, its surface worn smooth by years of prayers and offerings. The air is thick with the scent of wax, thyme, and the faint metallic tang of Father Edric's iron bowl filled with holy water and ash, its rim glinting in the candlelight. Old Gwyn stands to your left, her shawl tight, her bundle of herbs, thyme, rue, yarrow scattered on the altar, their sharp scent a ward against the Weirdwood's creeping presence. Edric is to your right, his robe swaying, his voice a low hum as he begins the binding prayer, its cadence steady, weaving through the chapel's cool silence. The 3 bells rest in your jerkin, their weight heavy beside the vervain pouch, their grass threads fraying, their metal warm from your body. The crook leans against the altar, its holy cloth damp, and the knife at your belt is a quiet anchor, its blade ready for the blood Gwyn says you must offer. You're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, and the Weirdwood's kin, their circles, their chimes, their shimmering ash, have marked you, their song a path you've walked to this moment. And now, with the village's faith and the hill's strength, you'll bind them or be bound. You pull the bells from your jerkin, their metal glinting, and place them on the altar, their grass threads curling like tendrils, their chimes faint as they settle. Gwyn nods, her eyes sharp, and sprinkles yarrow over them, its bitter scent rising while Edric dips his fingers in the bowl, tracing a cross over the bells with water and ash. His prayer growing louder, its words old, heavy with the weight of forgotten rites. You feel the Weirdwood's gaze, not pressing but present, a hum in your chest, softer now, as if the forest's kin are listening, waiting for your move. Your hand trembles slightly, the knife cold as you draw it, and you cut your palm, the pain sharp, blood welling, dripping onto the bells, the altar's stone, the ash-flecked water. The chapel hums, the candles flickering, and you feel a surge, not the Weirdwood's call, but the binding's power, pulling at the bells, the marks, the forest's song. Gwyn chants, her voice cracked but fierce, a counterpoint to Edric's prayer, her hands weaving rue and thyme into a small braid which she ties around the bells, their chimes muffled as the herbs tighten. Your will, Aldrich, she says, her eyes boring into yours. Hold it fast. The kin want you, but you're the hill's own. Bind them to the stone, to the land, not the forest. You nod, your palm throbbing, and press your bloodied hand to the altar, the stone warm now, pulsing faintly, like the ward stones in the hollow from another tale. The bells quiver, their metal glowing, and you feel the Weirdwood's kin, not surging but resisting, their song a faint scream, a melody twisting against the binding's pull. The chapel trembles, the candles flaring, and you see it in your mind, the circles, their shimmering ash, the glow in the pasture, the chimes by the pen, fading, drawn into the stone, the bells, your blood. Edric's prayer peaks, his voice a thunder, and Gwyn's chant weaves tighter, her braids sealing the bells, their glow dimming, their chimes silenced. You push your will, a shepherd's stubborn heart, forged in years of guiding the flock through storm and frost, and the binding holds, the Weirdwood's kin retreating, their song a fading echo, their circles dissolving into the earth. The stone pulses once bright, then stills, the bells dull, their grass threads crumbling, the chapel quiet, the air clean, the forest's gaze softened, almost grateful. You slump, your palm bleeding, the knife falling to the altar, its blade slick. Gwyn grips your shoulder, her face weary but proud. You did it, Aldrich, she says, her voice soft. The kin are bound, their song silent for now. Edric nods, his eyes bright, the bowl empty, its ash spent. "The hills are yours again," he says, "and Haverfield's faith held you." You nod, your breath ragged, and wrap your palm with a strip of cloth. The bells still on the altar, their power gone, mere metal now. The chapel's warmth is a haven. The village's hum a distant comfort. And you feel the Weirderwood's kin. Not gone but bound, their gaze a faint watch, no longer a call. You leave the chapel, Gwyn and Edric behind, their voices low as they clean the altar and step into the morning. Haverfield's roofs glowing, the hills green and open, the Weirderwood a dark line but quiet, its presence a shadow you've tamed. You head to the pen, the flock's bleats greeting you, their wool thick, their bells steady. You count them, 30 heads, best grazing calm, and find no marks, no ash, no chimes, the grass clean, the earth steady. You lead the sheep to the near pasture, your whistle soft, the hills rolling under a clear sky, the lark's song high and free. The village stirs, folk in the square, their chatter bright, the fear of the Weirdwood fading like mist. You settle on a stone, your crook across your knees, and pull the flute from your belt. Its wood warm, playing a tune, simple and bright, the melody weaving through the hills, the flock grazing, the land yours again. Midday comes, and you return to the hut. The doors creak a welcome, the fire's embers waiting. You stoke it, the flames warm and sit, the knife cleaned, the crook unwrapped, its cloth dry, the bells left with Gwyn for safe keeping. The time bundle sways, its scent a quiet ward, and you feel Haverfield's strength, Gwyn's wisdom, Edric's faith, the flock's trust, woven into you, a shepherd's heart that held the Weirderwood's kin. You eat a fresh loaf from the baker, its crust warm, bartered for wool and rest, the hill's rhythm steady, the forest's song silent, for now. Evening falls, and you check the flock, their bells soft, the pen secure. You head to the tavern, the square alive, folk raising mugs, their eyes warm, the Weirderwood's shadow gone. Bran slides you ale, his grin wide. "Aldrich, the hills are singing again," he says. And you nod, the ale's bitterness grounding you. You return to the hut, the fire glowing, and climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy. Sleep comes easy. The Weirderwood's hum a distant memory, the hill's song yours. And you know, deep in your bones, that you're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, keeper of the hills, and whatever the Weirderwood whispers next, you'll face it with the steady heart of a shepherd and the strength of Haverfield at your side. You wake to the gentle bleat of your flock, their calls drifting through the wattle walls of your hut, the dawn's soft light seeping past the hide flap, now untied to let in the morning's breath. The air is cool, scented with the faint thyme still clinging to the bundle above the shelf and the clean earthiness of Haverfield's hills. Your straw bed creaks as you sit up, the blanket warm, its rough wool a familiar comfort after nights haunted by the Weirderwood's kin. The binding ritual in the chapel, with old Gwyn's herbs and Father Edric's prayers, has silenced their song, the circles, the bells, the shimmering ash, leaving the hills quiet. The forest gaze a distant watch, no longer a call. You're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, and the Weirderwood spirits are bound, their path sealed by your blood and will, but the memory of their melody lingers, a faint hum in your bones, a reminder that the forest never truly sleeps. You rise, stretching, the ache in your palm from the ritual's cut now a faint scar, a mark of the hill's claim over the Weirderwood's pull. You stoke the fire, its embers flaring into flame with a handful of kindling, and pull on your tunic, its patched wool soft against your skin. Your boots, caked with the hill's clay, laced tight, and you grab the crook, its wood unwrapped, the holy cloth folded on the shelf, its work done. The knife at your belt is sheathed, its blade gleaming from last night's cleaning, and you take a hunk of oat bread, fresh from the baker's barter, its crust warm and yielding. You chew as you step outside, the air crisp, laced with dew and the distant pine of the Weirderwood, now a quiet neighbor, its edge a dark line but no longer menacing. Haverfield stirs, its thatched roofs glowing in the dawn, smoke curling from chimneys, the mill's wheel creaking by the stream. Your flock is penned close, their wool thick, their bells clinking softly as they shift. You count them, 30 heads, all present, Bess steady, her eyes bright, and open the gate, your whistle low and familiar, guiding them to the near pasture where the clover grows thick. The sheep spread out grazing, their bleats a soft hum, and you settle on a low stone wall, your crook across your knees, the hills rolling green and open, their rhythm steady, a pulse that matches your own. The Weirderwood looms to the north, its trees still, their watch softened, and you feel the land's peace, the bindings power holding the forest's kin at bay, the hills yours once more. You scan the pasture, your eyes sharp for marks, but the grass is clean, no circles, no ash, no bells, the earth untouched by the Weirderwood's touch. The lark sings, its trill high, and you pull the flute from your belt, its wood warm, playing a tune, bright and simple, the melody weaving through the hills, calming the flock, easing the faint hum in your chest. The sun climbs, burning off the mist, and you walk the pasture, checking the sheep, their wool catching burrs, their bells steady. A lamb strays, but only to nibble a patch of clover, and you guide it back, your crook gentle, the hills quiet a balm after the forest's call. Midday comes, the air warm now, and you lead the flock back, their bellies full, their steps slow. The village is alive, folk in the fields, children chasing a ball, the blacksmith's hammer ringing. You pen the sheep, checking the wattle, and head to the square, needing water and the village's hum to ground you. The well is busy, women laughing, their buckets clinking, and you fill your flask, the water cold and clear, its mineral tang familiar. Old Gwyn sits by her stool, her shawl loose today, her eyes bright as she watches a girl braid flowers. She sees you, her smile soft, and nods. "Aldrich," she says, her voice warm, "the hills are singing again. The Weirderwood's quiet thanks to you." You nod, the scar on your palm a quiet vow. "No marks, no bells," you say, your voice steady. The binding held. Her eyes twinkle, her hand patting yours. "For now, lad, the forest's old, but your heart's stronger. Keep the time, the prayers, and watch the flock. They'll tell you if it stirs." You thank her, the village's warmth, a steady anchor, and head to the tavern. The square's bustle, a soft hum. Brand's behind the counter, his beard flecked with ale, his grin wide as he slides a mug your way. "Aldrich, the sheep are fat, the hill's green," he says, tossing you a loaf. "You've tamed the Weirderwood, eh?" You smile, the ale's bitterness grounding, and drink, the tavern's chatter, farmers, weavers, a peddler's tales, a comfort after the chapel's wait. "Just the hills," you say, but Bran laughs, clapping your shoulder, and you feel Haverfield's strength, its trust woven into you, a shepherd who faced the forest and returned. You finish the ale, leaving a copper, and head back, the Weirderwood's edge a dark line but silent, its gaze a faint memory, the hill's rhythm yours. You check the flock, their bells soft, the pen secure, and return to the hut, the doors creak a welcome. You stoke the fire, its glow warm, and sit, the knife cleaned, the crook steady, the time bundle swaying, its scent a quiet ward. You eat the loaf, its crust cracking, and think of the Weirderwood, the circles, the bells, the hum now bound, their songs silenced, the hills free. Gwyn's wisdom, Edric's prayers, the flock's trust, they're your strength, a shepherd's heart that held the forest's kin. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and sleep comes easy. The Weirderwood's whisper, a distant echo, the hill's song, a steady lullaby. You close your eyes, dreaming of green pastures and gentle bells, knowing deep in your bones that you're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, keeper of the hills, and whatever the Weirderwood holds, you'll face it with the quiet strength of the land. And Haverfield at your side. You wake to the soft clink of your flock's bells, their gentle calls filtering through the wattle walls, the dawn's pale light slipping past the hide flap, now loosely tied to let in the morning's cool breath. The air carries the faint scent of thyme from the bundle above the shelf and the clean, earthy tang of Haverfield's hills, a reminder of the land's steady rhythm. Your straw bed rustles as you shift, the blanket warm, its coarse wool a quiet comfort after nights spent guarding against the Weirderwood's kin. The binding ritual in the chapel with old Gwyn's herbs and Father Edric's prayers has held firm, silencing the forest's song, the circles, the bells, the shimmering ash, leaving the hills free, the Weirderwood's gaze a faint watch, no longer a summons. You're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield. And though the forest spirits are bound, their memory lingers, a soft hum in your bones, a whisper that the hills are yours, but the Weirderwood's secrets endure. You rise, your joints eased by rest, the scar on your palm from the ritual a faint line, a mark of your pact with the land. You stoke the fire, its embers flaring with fresh kindling, the flames casting a warm glow across the hut's walls. You pull on your tunic, its patches worn soft, and lace your boots, their clay-caked soles a map of your treks. The crook leans by the door, its wood smooth, the holy cloth now folded away, its work complete. The knife at your belt is sheathed, its blade polished, a shepherd's tool turned ward, and you grab a fresh oat loaf from the table, bartered yesterday for wool, its crust yielding under your fingers. You chew as you step outside, the air crisp, scented with dew and the distant pine of the Weirderwood, its edge a dark line but quiet, its presence a shadow tamed by your will. Haverfield wakes, its thatched roofs catching the dawn's light, smoke drifting from chimneys, the mill's wheel groaning by the stream. Your flock is penned close, their wool thick, their bells a soft chime as they stir. You count them, 30 heads, all present, Bess grazing steady, her coat flecked with grass. You open the gate, your whistle low and familiar, guiding the sheep to the middle pasture, a gentle slope where the grass grows sweet, far enough from the Weirderwood's edge to feel the hill's embrace. The flock spreads out, their bleats a quiet hum, and you settle on a mossy rock, your crook across your knees, the hills rolling wide and green, their peace a steady pulse that matches your breath. The Weirderwood looms to the north, its trees still, their watch a faint memory, and you feel the land's calm, the binding strength holding the forest's kin at bay, the hills yours in truth. You scan the pasture, your eyes trained for marks, but the grass is untouched, no circles, no ash, no bells, the earth clean under the morning's light. The lark's song weaves through the air, high and free, and you hum a tune, not daring the flute yet, its notes too open after the Weirderwood's song. You walk the flock, checking their wool, brushing burrs from a lamb's coat, your hands gentle, the bells clink a steady rhythm. A ewe strays toward a patch of clover, but you guide her back. Your crook light, the hills quiet, a comfort. Their green expanse a world apart from the forest's shadow. Midday comes, the sun warm, the sky clear, and you lead the flock back, their steps slow, their bellies full. The village bustles, folk in the fields, a girl herding geese, the blacksmith's hammer a distant beat. You pen the sheep, checking the wattle, its weave tight, and head to the square, needing water and the village's warmth to anchor you. The well is lively, women trading gossip, their buckets glinting, and you fill your flask, the water cold, its mineral tang a taste of the hills. Old Gwyn is there, her shawl draped loose, her eyes bright as she watches a boy toss stones. She sees you, her smile warm, and pats the stool beside her. "Aldrich," she says, her voice soft, "the hills are yours again." The Weirderwood's silent, and the flock's thriving. You sit, the flask heavy, and nod, the scar on your palm a quiet testament. "No marks, no chimes," you say, your voice calm. "The binding strong, Gwyn. The hills feel right." Her hand rests on yours, her touch worn but kind. "They are, lad, thanks to you. The forest's kin are bound, their song stilled, but the Weirdwood's old. Keep your time, your prayers, and listen to the flock. They'll speak if it wakes." She pauses, her eyes twinkling. "You're Haverfield shepherd, Aldrich, and the hills know your name." You thank her, the villages hum a steady comfort, and head to the tavern, the square's chatter bright. Folk bartering wool, cider, and turnips, their fear of the Weirdwood gone, replaced by the land's bounty. Brand's at the counter, his beard dusted with flour, his grin wide as he slides a mug your way. "Aldrich, the sheep are the talk of the market." he says, tossing you a fresh loaf, its crust warm. You've brought the hills back, haven't you? You smile, the ale's bitterness sharp, and drink, the tavern's warmth. Farmers laughing, a weaver's tale, a peddler's jest, wrapping around you like wool. Just tending the flock, you say, but Bran chuckles, clapping your shoulder, and you feel Haverfield's trust, its faith in you. A shepherd who faced the Weirdwood and held the hills. You finish the ale, leaving a copper, and return to the hut, the Weirdwood's edge a dark line but silent. Its gaze a faint echo, the hill's rhythm a steady pulse. You check the flock, their bells soft, the pens secure, and enter the hut. The doors creak a homecoming. You stoke the fire, its glow warm, and sit, the knife polished, the crook steady, the time bundle swaying, its scent a quiet ward. You eat the loaf, its crust cracking, and think of the Weirdwood, the circles, the bells, the ash. Now bound, their song a memory, the hills alive with your flock's bleats. Gwyn's wisdom, Edric's prayers, the village's strength, they're woven into you, a shepherd's heart that silenced the forest kin. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and sleep comes swift, the Weirdwood's hum gone, the hill's song a gentle lullaby. You close your eyes, dreaming of open pastures and steady bells, knowing deep in your bones that you're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, keeper of the hills. And whatever the Weirdwood holds, you'll face it with the quiet strength of the land. And Haverfield's heart at your side. You wake to the familiar bleat of your flock, their calls a soft chorus through the wattle walls. The dawn's gentle light filtering past the hide flap, now open to welcome the morning's breath. The air is crisp, scented with thyme from the bundle above the shelf and the clean, earthy warmth of Haverfield's hills, a testament to the land's enduring peace. Your straw bed creaks as you rise, the blanket warm, its rough wool a quiet anchor after nights spent warding off the Weirdwood's kin. The binding ritual in the chapel, sealed with old Gwyn's herbs, Father Edric's prayers, and your blood, has held firm, silencing the forest's song. The circles, the bells, the shimmering ash, leaving the hills free. The Weirdwood's gaze, a distant hum, no longer a call but a memory. You're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, and though the forest spirits are bound, their echo lingers, a faint whisper in your bones, a reminder that the hills are yours, and the Weirdwood's secrets are stilled, for now. You stretch, the scar on your palm a thin pale line, a badge of your stand against the forest kin, and stoke the fire, its embers flaring into flame with fresh kindling, the glow warming the hut's walls. You pull on your tunic, its patches soft from years of wear, and lace your boots, their clay-caked soles a record of your treks across the hills. The crook stands by the door, its wood smooth, the holy cloth now tucked away, its purpose fulfilled. The knife at your belt is sheathed, its blade gleaming, a shepherd's tool restored to its simple duty. And you grab a fresh oat loaf, bartered for wool, its crust warm and fragrant. You chew as you step outside, the air sharp with dew and the faint pine of the Weirdwood, its edge a dark line but silent, its presence a shadow you've tamed, the hill's rhythm pulsing steady and true. Haverfield wakes, its thatched roofs catching the dawn's glow, smoke rising from chimneys, the mill's wheel turning by the stream with a gentle creak. Your flock is penned close, their wool thick, their bells a soft chime as they shift, eager for the pasture. You count them, 30 heads, all present, Bess leading with a steady gait, her eyes bright, her coat flecked with clover. You open the gate, your whistle low and warm, guiding the sheep to the high pasture. A ridge where the grass grows thick and the Weirdwood's shadow is a distant memory. The flock spreads out, grazing, their bleats a quiet song, and you settle on a weathered stone, your crook across your knees. The hills rolling wide and green, their peace a balm that soothes the faint hum of the forest's past call. The Weirdwood stands to the north, its trees still, their watch a soft presence, no longer a threat. And you feel the land's embrace, the binding strength holding the forest's kin in their silent slumber. You scan the pasture, your eyes sharp but calm, finding no marks, no ash, no bells, the grass clean, the earth steady under the morning's light. The lark's song weaves through the air, high and joyful, and you pull the flute from your belt, its wood warm, playing a tune bright and free. The melody dancing across the hills, calming the flock, lifting your heart. The sheep graze, their bells a steady rhythm, and you walk among them, brushing burrs from a lamb's wool, checking an ewe's gait, your hands gentle, the hills quiet a comfort that fills the space once held by the Weirderwood song. A lamb nibbles clover, content, and you smile. The crook light in your hand, the land's rhythm yours, a shepherd's life restored. Midday arrives, the sun high, the air warm, and you lead the flock back, their steps slow, their bellies full. The village is alive, folk tending fields, a boy driving pigs, the blacksmith's hammer a steady beat. You pen the sheep, the wattle firm, and head to the square. The villages hum a warm tide that anchors you. The well is bustling, women sharing tales, their buckets clinking, and you fill your flask. The water cold, its mineral tang, a taste of the hill's heart. Old Gwyn sits by her stool, her shawl draped loose, her eyes bright as she watches a girl weave a daisy chain. She sees you, her smile deep, and pats the ground beside her. "Aldrich," she says, her voice soft, "the hills are yours and the Weirderwood's quiet. You've bound its kin, given us peace." You kneel, the flask cool in your hand, and nod, the scar on your palm a quiet vow. "The pasture's clean, the flock strong," you say, your voice warm. "The binding holds, Gwyn, and the hills sing." Her hand rests on yours, her touch worn but steady. "They do, lad, because of you. The forest's old, its kin older, but your heart's the hill's own. Keep your time, your flute, and listen to the sheep. They'll speak if the Weirderwood stirs." She pauses, her eyes twinkling. "You're Haverfield's shepherd, Aldrich, and the land knows your steps." You thank her. The village's warmth a steady light, and head to the tavern. The square's bustle bright, folk trading wool, apples, and laughter, their fear of the Weirderwood gone, replaced by the land's quiet bounty. Brand's at the counter, his beard flecked with ale, his grin wide as he slides a mug your way, tossing you a fresh loaf, its crust warm. "Aldrich, the market's full, the sheep fat," he says, his laugh booming. "You've brought the hills to life, haven't you?" You smile, the ale's bitterness sharp and sweet, and drink, the tavern's hum, farmer's jests, a weaver's song, a child's giggle wrapping around you like a fleece. "Just tending the flock," you say. But Brand claps your shoulder. The villages trust a tide that lifts you, a shepherd who faced the Weirderwood's kin and held the hill's heart. You finish the ale, leaving a copper, and return to the hut. The Weirderwood's edge a dark line but silent, its gaze a faint memory, the hill's rhythm a steady pulse that carries you home. You check the flock, their bells soft, the pen secure, and enter the hut, the doors creak a gentle welcome. You stoke the fire, its glow warm, and sit, the knife polished, the crook steady, the time bundle swaying, its scent a quiet ward that needs no strengthening. You eat the loaf, its crust cracking, and think of the Weirderwood, the circles, the bells, the ash, now bound, their song a distant echo, the hills alive with your flock's bleats, the lark's trill, the wind's soft sigh. Gwyn's wisdom, Edric's prayers, the village's faith, the flock's trust, they're woven into you, a shepherd's heart that silenced the forest's kin and reclaimed the land. You climb onto your pallet, the straw crunching, the blanket heavy, and sleep comes swift, the Weirderwood's whisper gone, the hill's song a gentle lullaby that cradles you. You close your eyes, dreaming of green pastures, steady bells, and open skies, knowing deep in your bones that you're Aldrich, shepherd of Haverfield, keeper of the hills, and whatever shadows the Weirderwood holds, you'll face them with the quiet. Strength of the land and Haverfield's heart at your side.